There's something fascinating about sleep. Now, how much time do you ever spend in general contemplating what sleep really is? Because regularly, if I look back on my past as a little child and stuff like that, we have all these wild dreams, perhaps. I mean, as children, dreams can be quite fascinating simply because of being a child. But then as we grow older, it's like we seem to care less and less about the dreams and just kind of go like, oh, well, it was just a dream, whatever. So in our adulthood, when we become supposed adults according to this world, suddenly we are like wise people, right? Well, usually we aren't really that wise, to be really honest. Even I'm not that wise necessarily. I'm just focused on specific things in my life and expand in a direction. But you see, as adults, we don't really question our dreams, and as children, we might be absolutely fascinated by them because by then we haven't really hardened our own perceptions on spiritual matters that much. Even though as a child you might not consider what you experience spiritual, you might not even know the word, etc. But our minds are more open to divine things as a child. Therefore, if we consider what is sleep really, what would be your first reaction? Because this video will lead into something that might be completely bizarre to you, insane, or pretty fascinating. It depends on what level of consciousness you're at when listening to this. But first of all, a couple of years ago in 2018, I remember laying down on my bed, and then I closed my eyes and I relaxed. And I was staring into that darkness we see when our eyes are closed. And then came this voice, this message from the depths of my being. And it said, "Why do you sleep? Do you not know it is abnormal to sleep?" And I replied to it and I said, "But everyone sleeps. What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, it is abnormal to sleep." And that was the message that I got. And it made me think. I never forgot about it because years later I'm still thinking about it. What was that peculiar message that came into my consciousness? Well, I think it ties in a way beautifully in what somebody by the name of Paramahansa Yogananda said almost like 100 years ago when he was doing his spiritual work and teachings over in America. He was originally from India, I think, and then he went to America to start teaching about these spiritual things and how they are actually similar to their Christianity, even to this day, we could say. I mean, Christianity, and then you have Hinduism and all these religions, they have similar patterns to them if we really look at them with an open mind and are not afraid or intimidated by other people's supposed religions. Well, his goal was to show them the connection between the East and the West. So between Asia and America, for example, being Western world. Now, this is what he said about sleep. And it's absolutely fascinating if you contemplate it. He said, "Man remains firmly convinced that he essentially is a body, even though he daily receives proof to the contrary. Every night in sleep, the little death, he discards his identification with the physical form and is reborn as invisible consciousness. Why is it that man is compelled to sleep? Because sleep is a reminder of what is beyond the state of sleep, the state of the soul. Mortal existence could not be born without at least subconscious contact with the soul, which is provided by sleep. At nighttime, man dumps the body into the subconscious and becomes an angel. In the daytime, he becomes once more a devil, divorced from spirit by the desires and sensations of the body." So you see, that was his description of what sleep is, why it occurs. And it is something that before I even read his words, I already started sensing this. So why would sleep be abnormal then, as it was told to me? Well, it's only abnormal as long as you do not realize that you are, in essence, consciousness, spirit. You're a spiritual being. Now, most of us, we will agree on this to some level. We might say, yes, I believe I am not just my body. I believe in God. I believe in this and that, all these great truths. But the problem is if the belief is spoken based on speculation and on hearsay, it is not really revealing to you much. It's not really revealing the truth to you at all. You need to have the actual first-hand experience of this in order to actually truly believe them and understand them mostly. to have the experience of what the belief is all about in saying, I believe I'm a spiritual being. Okay, well then, do you have the evidence? People might ask me, well, do you have the evidence that you're a spiritual being? From where do these claims come that you're making? Well, the claims for me come from the fact that I have been aware when my body is asleep, that I am still awake and aware, but in a different world, different reality. I mean, I have no other way to describe this. So I already know that, okay, apparently I have first-hand experience that I'm not just my physical body. But yet most people, you see, they're never aware when they're dreaming at all. So in a way, I almost see it as a blessed thing. I'm still trying to figure out how to do this pretty much every night, forever and ever. I would almost think and sense that it is part of the climax of total awakening of consciousness to your spiritual self. That you know and truly understand that you are not just your physical body. Perhaps then it will occur more and more, becoming the norm, to shift between realities from physical to non-physical, etc. All these things sound shocking to the average person because they still believe that they're only the body. So when you go to sleep, what happens? Well, I would say you fall unconscious together with your body. It is the body that goes unconscious, but your spirit does not have to remain unconscious. That's the beauty. So in realizing the purpose of sleep is to remind us every single day that we're not just a body. Well, then we have something to work towards, to look forward towards. You see, how many people out there are actually looking forward to going to sleep at night? Now, we might look forward to going to sleep at night because we're physically tired, right? We had a busy day and we're like, oh, finally some rest. I can't wait to sleep. So that's pretty common. But to actually look forward in the sense that you also know, what will I see this night? What kind of visions will be coming into my consciousness? What am I going to experience? I'm looking forward to that. And you look forward to that with the realization, these are wonderful reminders that I am not just my body. That I'm truly a spiritual being working with and through a physical body. You see, that changes your perspective entirely on your own existence and this reality. Because to see it as you being only a physical being, well, that would explain a lot of the suffering that's going on here. Because physically everything seems to come and go, you lose it and things fall apart, etc. There's all this drama. But then I can confirm every time I take my desires and wants and even sufferings with me to the Christ, consciousness, the spiritual self. I take it with me into the dream world to fix it. So I could have a desire of I'm wanting something, physically speaking. It's not here right now, for example. It's not here. So I might feel bad. But instead, what I learned to do is to close my eyes. Especially when I go to sleep at night. And I simply take that desire and bring it with me into the dream world so I can then experience the fulfillment of my own desires in that realm of my being. So then I already feel fulfilled and happy about it. But other things that bother me, I can also take them into the dream world. Usually we call them nightmares, stuff that are of a negative nature that happened there. Well, if we take them consciously into the dream world, even if it was a nightmare, but because you understand what's going on beforehand, you actually get to look at the things that are bothering you that are of negative nature in your conscience and fix them inwardly. You fix them spiritually, and everything that's fixed spiritually will reflect itself in your life in general. You see, you can only fix something truly if it happens spiritually, because the physical world is only a reflection of a greater spiritual reality. Yet we try to fix everything physically speaking alone, and that's why it might work out, or it seems like hard work, this and that, but we're spiritual beings that have access to everything. Your own I am nature, your own spiritual essence, gives you the fulfillment of whatsoever you desire if you give your dreams over to it. And then at first it seems like you're working together with this spiritual power within you, but one day you realize that you are the spiritual power, and the roles have reversed. You are no longer just a physical being, you became a spiritual being in conscious awareness. You became aware of your spiritual nature from experience and feel it burn through your entire being. So ultimately, boiled down, sleep is, even though humanity does not realize it more often than not, it is a reminder of the fact that you are not just a physical being. Because I have said this before, time and time again. If we're really honest with ourselves, if you dream, and you see your dream world, right now you're looking at your physical, you're looking at YouTube perhaps, at this YouTube video, and you're looking at this with your eyes. But when you're dreaming at sleep at night, when the body is on the bed, well, you're still seeing this dream world of yours. So you're not even really looking with your eyes. You're not seeing with your eyes at all. You see, the eyes are one of the senses of sight, but everything is a reflection of spiritual things. So the senses, physically speaking, are a reflection of spiritual senses that you also have, that are the true power, that are behind the true nature of physicality. So by understanding that you are a spiritual being, you can then learn to invoke those spiritual senses and start seeing the fulfillment of whatsoever you desire within your very being, and there you will find joy and bliss, because you will have found the eternal part of yourself, the true nature of who you are and what exists beyond the physical grave, because death does not exist. Yes, you can look around you and see people dying, as you would say, but death, in the sense that things would be over, it doesn't exist. Everything goes on and on through different dimensions. Consciousness keeps generating new and different things for itself to function through. So death, in the sense that everything would be over, doesn't exist. So you don't have to fear your own death either, because a new world will await you and will manifest itself once you drop this body back to the earth. But it is of great use to understand the spiritual side of yourself before that occurs, because then you can truly go on with wisdom, instead of ignorance and confusion, not understanding what the hell is going on. You know, how many people would have experienced that? I don't know. But there must have been many, many people, even to this day, that pass away and that they don't know what the heck is going on, what's happening here. It might be so shocking that they just go unconscious because of all of it. And just like when they're dreaming at night, they go along with things in the so-called afterlife in a totally unconscious state. But imagine if you were conscious, if you were ready to perceive all this divinity that exists beyond the physical realm. Yes, that is what sleep is all about, I would say. And I hope it will make you think more and more clearly about this inner world that exists within you, that constantly is being revealed through your dreams at night. And then at first you have no control of that inner world, but one day you will control it. That is the goal, that is the destiny. And once you truly control it, then you know you are a free spirit with eternal life. You will then be able to prove that to your own satisfaction. And it's no longer a theory that you've heard from me or others, because you've done it. You've done it yourself, you can't deny it. I cannot deny what happened to me. People might say, well, it sounds like nonsense, or I don't believe that you've experienced this. That's alright. It doesn't matter to me if people believe me or not, because I'm not posting these videos to convince you of anything. I'm just here to share with you what I've experienced and discovered so far on this journey for myself. And I hope it will make you think in a broader, bigger way about your own existence. Because ultimately, to break free from the limitation of physicality, that is where real bliss will lie. And sleep is just one of many, many aspects that are sort of hidden away in plain sight. See, it's so obvious, so typical for us to dream, and yet in plain sight, right there, the most divine and most spiritual thing is actually occurring for all of us, and we don't even realize it, more often than not. So for now, you will consider it and start contemplating your own dream world and what it means to you. See, if sleep is abnormal, it means that there's a state that where you don't have to sleep anymore, as crazy as it sounds. But if I'm aware and awake in my dream world, I know my body is apparently asleep, but yet here I am, awake and aware, and I don't even feel tired, which already showed to me that consciousness in and of itself does not know tiredness. The spiritual self, the spiritual aspect of us, that it doesn't need to rest. It doesn't need to sit down or lay down and be like, oh, I need to have some rest for a couple hours. That resting part, that actual sleep, that need to sleep and go unconscious, is mostly of the body, I would say. At least from my own observation, that's what I have seen, that's what I felt and experienced concerning this matter. So perhaps for you on your journey, it will also become interesting to see, once you are awake, what it actually means to you. To be aware and awake in your own supposed dream world. It just simply shows you different dimensions of the universe that existed all along, but we were simply not paying attention to. That's all I wanted to share with you today. So if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing to receive inspirational videos on a regular basis. And with that being said, dear viewer, never forget that we are the dreamers.